Bizarre Brain Comics. Well, hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Okay, I'm going to take a look at this. This is DC Special Blue Ribbon Digest number 23 from 1982, featuring the Green Arrow. The Green Arrow. Of course, it's a digest collection of a bunch of stories reprinted from years past. But one interesting thing about this is that this whole digest book was collected to tell one overall story. It's got an introduction featuring, of course, Green Arrow and Black Canary, and with little connectors in between each story to tie them all together. It's if you're familiar with Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles or the Illustrated Man, which are novels comprised of short stories with little interstitial parts tying them all together. And the same thing with Zena Henderson's novels of the people. Something like that. Short stories combined into one overarching story. And that's what this does. And of course, it's got various creators in here. Jack Kirby, Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil, Lee Elias, etc. But for those who don't know, Green Arrow is the non-superpowered vigilante superhero identity of Oliver Queen, who was once a wealthy industrialist and social activist who later lost his fortune. His base of operations is the fictional city of Star City in the DC universe, and his primary weapon is a bow with a host of trick arrows and a developed ability at hand-to-hand combat. For a significant period of his career, he was aided by a teen sidekick called Speedy, who was actually Roy Harper, his ward, just like Robin. He was the creation of Mort Weisinger and artist George Papp, at first appearing in More Fun Comics number 73 in 1946, I think it was. I miswrote it, I think. And he was a member of a Golden Age group. I can't remember the name of it, but he's best known as a member of the Justice League of America, where he hooked up romantically with Black Canary. Later, they both relocated to Seattle as a base of operations, and originally he was basically an imitation of Batman with a different gimmick. In other media, he has been used instead of Batman, like in Smallville, when the editorship at DC Comics, executives wouldn't allow Batman to be used, or like in Smallville, would have been a young Bruce Wayne. They substituted Oliver Queen and how he became Green Arrow as the secondary character, and because Batman was too big to be used on Smallville. And of course, later became well known enough to get his own series, Arrow, which spawned the Arrowverse, which eventually created a Justice League in there. Okay, and yeah, I'll get to that later. Okay, here's the cover illustration by Jim Aparo. Yeah, that's in the way. So take a little look here, and you see this framing sequence is it doesn't give any writing credits, but is drawn by Dan Spiegel, and this was that period of time at the end of Gold Key when Dan Spiegel was doing a lot of work at DC before doing a lot of stuff at First, etc. And this is Green Arrow is supposed to meet up with Black Canary, and he's late, and she is PO'd when he gets home. And she says she's been occupying her time at looking at some of his scrapbooks. And then looking at the scrapbooks is what gives us to these stories. Now, for quite a while in the 60s, Jack Kirby was an artist on many Green Arrow stories. At this point, it was probably like backups or in anthology books. And this is The Unmasked Archers. This is drawn by Jack Kirby. Does not identify the writer. And I've got a trade paperback just reprinting several Jack Kirby Green Arrow stories in it from that period. I'm not sure whether any of these stories are in there or not. And this is starts off splash, and then we get into the story when they received a message, the arrow signal, see, like Batman, bat signal, arrow signal, and they don their gear, and then they see a newspaper, the newspaper laying there on the table, and it has Green Arrow and Speedy identified, and it shows Oliver Queen. This is when he was rich. Shows Oliver Queen and Roy Harper, and both Green Arrow and their civilian identities. This is going to really mess things up. So this is going to have to be probably our last case. And so they head out, go to stop a bunch of crooks in the Arrow car. They go to see the commissioners, and they remove their masks and identify themselves. And the commissioner just laughs, and he says, "What kind of gag are you playing at?" It's laughing. I said, "Oh yeah, you caught us." Because then they see, like, there was just that one paper, the one that they had. All the other daily papers that they see have different stories on it. So it was some kind of gag thing. If they find out that it was a gag, and so they almost blew their cover themselves. So they're back at home. Then they get a call from the commissioner, who is laughing, says, "Hey, there's a robbery going on, and if you're really interested in playing Green Arrow, you can go see what you can do there." So they go, and it's a robbery on a train that's been stopped, and so the cops are there, and they do their thing, but now they have to pretend to be clumsy with the arrows, shooting their arrows, and still, as if by accident, manage to catch the crooks, and then saying it was the Green Arrow who did it, and so they're saved. Their identities are safe for the time being. And remember, Green Arrow had an Arrow cave, he had the Arrow car, had the Arrow plane, and stuff like that. Here's another story. This one's drawn by Lee Elias. Remember, might be familiar with Lee Elias from. He did a lot of stuff in the Golden Age and Silver Age. He probably most closely identified with the Black Cat, but he also in the 50s he also drew the science fiction comic strip Beyond Mars. So here's one about Camouflage King. I'm not going to go into details. After some crooks who are using camel clothes that can camouflage them, and they get so often people can't see them, and they wind up accidentally getting camouflaged themselves, so that the crooks who are trying to get away can't see them, and then they catch the crooks. And then this is an interesting one, The Amazing Miss Arrowette. This is about a young lady who is like a champion archer, and she's inspired by Green Arrow, and she wants to get into a little bit like Batgirl later on. This is also drawn by Lee Elias, and so she sticks her nose in and winds up actually helping the Green Arrow and Speedy catch crooks almost by accident. But the silly thing is that, like, she's got the bobby pin arrow and hairpin arrow and trick arrows that are versions of little girly things, which are stupid. And it's the same kind of stuff that they would often do back then for female versions. It have even Batgirl. She had a compact and did stuff, silly stuff early on. But she winds up helping, even really helping them when Green Arrow and Speedy are captured. She winds up, even though she kind of fumbles and get herself captured, she was able to help them get away, and they got out. And it was very sexist. And Black Canary, we're looking at that story. Black Canary slams the shut, and she is PO'd at Ollie for that sexist attitude. And says, "I'm sorry, babe. It was just the time." And then there's another Jack Kirby one with various versions of Green Arrow from around the world coming for a convention, etc. And it was some silly stuff. It's more Silver Age silliness. Here's one that, and they wind up going to another world with giant arrows coming from a hole in space to a land of giants, and Black Canaries laughs at that story. So that's silly. And then we get more up later story. This is from Brave and the Bold. It said the Senator's been shot by. Written by Bob Haney with art by Neil Adams, and this is when they introduced this Green Arrow's new costume. That's this one over here, and he's got the beard and stuff. And this is when a senator who was shot but not killed. He's out of commission. Got a big crime bill coming up, and they need his vote. The governor wants to name Batman to his office, to the office of the senator, and meanwhile, things are going on. Which crossover we get with the same gangster who had the senator shot, and who is the focus of the crime bill, is also being targeted by Green Arrow, and Bruce Wayne he's torn wanting to do good, and he can't do good as Batman and do good as a senator at the same time, and he's torn. He talks to the shot senator's son, who is a psychiatrist, and of course he's got he can't reveal this secret to anyone because of his oath, and he reveals that he is Batman and how torn he is, and he has to decide what to do. And Oliver Queen, friends with the same guy, and involved in some big business deal that will benefit lots of people, and he is torn about whether or not to give up his Green Arrow identity entirely, and he confides in the same psychiatrist, and he's told all this. Then the psychiatrist is kidnapped, and Batman and Green Arrow have to go to the island where the criminal is, take care of him. Got various problems here, and they save him. And Batman gets to Washington and walks into the Senate just in time to cast his vote. And I had this book way back when, and this is all I remembered was Bruce Wayne busting in the door just in time to cast his vote, and that's all I could remember from it. And then the psychiatrist does some self-hypnosis to make him forget about the identities of Batman and Green Arrow. And more stuff. This is a good one. This was has a flashback to giving Green Arrow's origin story. And this was written by Denny O'Neil with art by Mike Grell. I like Mike Grell's Green Arrow. He did Green Arrow for a while as backup stuff, and then in the 80s he took over, basically rebooted, did a soft reboot on Green Arrow in the 80s. Moving him to Seattle, and him and Black Canary to Seattle, and had a long running series then, and that's when I really started reading Green Arrow. I just read him once in a while in whatever he happened to be in. But that's when I started following it, and I don't have those books anymore, I don't think. But I do still have the miniseries, The Longbow Hunters, which I want to cover here sometime in the future, and how he was some gangsters taking over a ship a yacht he was on, throw him over the side. He's marooned on an island, learns how to fend for himself, and really learns self-taught how to use the bow and arrow to extreme accuracy, etc. Then finds that those same pirates have a bunch of prisoners on the other side of the island. He goes to town and saves them, and one of the officers says, "We owe a lot to this Green Arrow." He's referring to the arrow that the homemade arrow that Ollie was using, and that's where he got the name the Green Arrow when he returns and takes on the Green Arrow persona. And another one I'm not going to go into. Another Neil Adams drawn one. This is another crisis and crossroads in his life, and then a story drawn by Dick Giordano and Elliot S. Megan. And this was a story about when Ollie was mayor of Star City, and some gangsters out to kill Black Canary when she's doing at some kind of charity exhibit, etc. And he saved her life. And then it concludes back with their framing sequence, and she talking about when he saved her, said, I almost lost you, and all this other stuff. And so they finish up with a hug and a kiss at the end. And I really enjoyed this, the way it was put together, and I'd like to have seen them do that more often, put it together into one overall story. It was well done. All these different creators, I really, really like this. Is probably one of my favorite Green Arrow books right there. So I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Tell me, do you like Green Arrow, or do you think he's stupid because he's just got a bow and arrow? Did you like the Arrow TV series and the Arrowverse, or did you like the version they had on Smallville, or any the Justice League animated series, anything like that? Or what period in the history of Green Arrow do you prefer? Let me know in the comments down below. And remember, comics are art.